All right, so move on to the next segment. I'll be sharing my winners and losers of the NFL free agency thus far. So in this segment, I'll be having three winners, three respective franchises that I do believe have been winning so far in NFL free agency, and then I will have three losers in this segment, three teams, three franchises that I do believe are absolutely losing NFL free agency by a milestone. So with a week in the NFL free agency, these are my three winners, my three losers. Winner number one is the Philadelphia Eagles. Me personally being a Dallas Cowboys fan, I hate the Eagles fan base. I hate the Philadelphia Eagles. But my unbiased opinion, the Philadelphia Eagles, I have to say, have the best front office in the National Football League. Howie Roseman, I don't know how the hell he keeps getting away with this. He always finds a way to improve the roster. Something that Jerry Jones does not do for the Dallas Cowboys. I like the moves that Howie Roseman truly made so far this NFL offseason. He found ways to improve this roster. They brought in Saquon Barkley. This is the best running back that the Philadelphia Eagles would truly have in their backfield since the prime days of LaShawn McCoy. Definitely a huge upgrade at the running back position. Getting a caliber player like Saquon Barkley, I do believe he's going to have a Christian McCaffrey type role in that Philadelphia Eagles offense next year. They brought in linebacker Devin White. I think that's a great addition to the team. Linebacker was a position that hurt the team on the defensive side of the ball a lot last year. They brought in Bryce Huff as an edge rusher on the defensive side of the ball. They also brought back C.J. Johnson-Gardner as a defensive back. I think that's going to help the team as well. And I do believe that the Eagles are not done. They have 9 total draft picks. And I do believe that we could see this team continue to improve in a big way. So the Philadelphia Eagles are definitely winning free agency. They're one of my winners on my list. Now the next team that I do believe are winners during NFL free agency is the Atlanta Falcons. I do believe that the Atlanta Falcons are definitely winners at NFL free agency thus far. I like the moves that they did currently this NFL offseason. They're starting fresh after they fired Arthur Smith. They brought in Raheem Mostert. Raheem Mostert could bring a winning culture back to the Atlanta Falcons, something that they have not had since the Dan Quinn days. But I really like the Falcons going all in on Kirk Cousins. I understand that he's coming off a torn Achilles, but I think that is the best that's the best thing that's going to happen to this franchise. They needed a franchise quarterback. They got one of Kirk Cousins. They added another receiver at the wide receiver position in Darnell Mooney, and they got Rondale Moore from the Arizona Cardinals after the trade where it was a swap. Desmond Ridder goes to Arizona. Rondale Moore comes to Atlanta. So they've gotten better offensively with Kirk Cousins, Darnell Mooney, Rondale Moore to go with their already explosive offensive weapons and Bijan Robinson, Drake London, and Kyle Pitts, if they can finally unlock the potential of the young tight end. But they still have the 8th overall pick in this upcoming NFL draft. And this could be a dark horse team to surprise a lot of teams in the NFC. I think they could win the NFC South. They're going to be battling with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but I do believe they have the potential to be a dark horse team to look out for in the NFC next year. I like what the Falcons are doing. My last winner on my list is the Houston Texans. Now, I had a feeling right before, if you guys seen the podcast episode 145 to be exact, if you guys seen on that episode, I said Danielle Hunter, a good landing spot for him would be the Houston Texans. Where did he end up? The Houston Texans. And this was a great signing for the Texans to get done. Danielle Hunter, and they got him. He's coming off his best season in his young career thus far. It's a shame that the Vikings didn't re-sign him because he's going to be one hell of a threat on the defensive side of the ball for the Houston Texans. Now we'll be playing on the defensive line with Will Anderson Jr. So the pass rush is definitely going to be upgraded. DeMeco Ryans is a defensive head coach, a defensive-minded head coach. He's definitely going to have this defense looking right next year. They re-signed Dalton Schultz. I do believe that Dalton Schultz was a good security blanket for C.J. Stroud in his rookie season. I do believe that their connection could grow next year in Houston. And they upgraded at the running back position, getting Joe Mixon. Now, Devin Singletary did a great job in the backfield. Damian Pierce, I don't know what happened to him, but he lost his footing. and lost his role as the starting running back for this team. Now Joe Mixon, you get a guy like Joe Mixon who's proven why he could be one of the best running backs when healthy in the league. If they draft well, I do believe that the Houston Texans could be in the conversation for being one of the most improved teams in the National Football League when we get to training camp and we're looking at which teams got improved and which teams did not improve during the NFL offseason. Houston Texans are my final winners on my list. Now, number one loser, switching over to losers. Loser number one is my Dallas Cowboys. Jerry Jones's all-in statement was a fib to get the media talking and buzzing about the Dallas Cowboys. This is what Jerry Jones does. He does not care about winning at this particular point anymore. He cares about the money. He cares about the business aspect of the Dallas Cowboys being America's team. But the only moves that the Dallas Cowboys have truly made this offseason, we re-signed our long snapper and we signed Eric Kendricks at the linebacker position. But other than that, we watched the entire NFC conference get better, and we have gotten worse. We lost a total of 8 players this NFL offseason. Jerry Jones's front office management has been terrible because I'm looking at what we could be going through next year around this time in the spring of 2025. Building through the draft does not win championships. You got to do more than that, Jerry Jones. But Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, Zach Martin, DeMarcus Lawrence, Brandon Cooks are all in the final years of their contracts in Dallas. This is alarming because if they don't do anything this year, we could be heading into a rebuild in Dallas. And that's something you don't want to see when you know you have the roster that is capable of winning a championship in Dallas. But Jerry Jones's front office management, this is bad. You don't have the money to play with to get NFL free agents, and you got to re-sign these guys in order to be a contending team. This has been a bad offseason. Dallas Cowboys are definitely losers on my list. Now, the next loser on my list is the Los Angeles Chargers. Now, if you go back in time just a few months ago, it was an exciting time to be a Los Angeles Chargers fan because you brought in a established winning guy in Jim Harbaugh. Jim Harbaugh has proved that he can win at the collegiate level, winning the national championship with Michigan this past season. And in the National Football League, he's been to 3 NFC championship games with the San Francisco 49ers in the past, that made a Super Bowl appearance, playing his younger brother and John Harbaugh just a few years ago in the Super Bowl. When you get a head coach like that, it's always fun to be a fan of the franchise. But now that we fast forward to March in this NFL offseason, the Chargers have actually lost a lot of key pieces on this team due to cap space. And they lost a lot of weapons on the offensive side of the ball. I mean, they lost their number 1 wide receiver, Keenan Allen, a great, amazing route runner. When healthy, definitely in the conversation of being a top wide receiver in the National Football League. They lost him. They lost their number 2 wide receiver as well, and Mike Williams. I understand he's going to be coming back from a torn ACL, but you don't let these 2 guys walk out the building. There's no way. They lost Austin Eckler in free agency, lost their tight end Gerald Everett in free agency. I understand they got Hayden Hurst at the tight end position, but man, that's a lot of offensive weapons that has been lost. On the defensive side of the ball, they also lost Eric Kendricks and Kenneth Murray. So this has not been a good offseason so far. What weapons does really Justin Herbert have to play with next year? Definitely head scratching. And we all know for Justin Herbert, we're going to pay attention to how his game plays this year. But we all know in Greg Roman's offenses, he does not like true, pure number 1 wide receivers being a run-first offense. So they're definitely losers on my list. Now, last loser on my list is the Buffalo Bills. Now, I do believe that the Buffalo Bills lost a lot of good players on the roster this year, this offseason. They released Jordan Poyer, Mitch Morse on the offensive line, Tre'Davious White, who can't catch a break. I mean, when healthy, the man is a top-tier corner, but has been battling through injuries this year. So losing those guys is not fun at all. They also lost wide receiver Gabe Davis and edge rusher Leonard Floyd. And I'm not sure if Micah Hyde re-signs with the Buffalo Bills. So this team is going to be really reluctant on Josh Allen, their franchise quarterback next season. But I do believe with these things happening, their championship window is officially closed in the AFC. I stand on it. They're going to be flirting, hanging around with the Super Bowl. They're going to be in the conversation for it. But I think their championship window is officially closed. And the biggest elephant in the room, they still could potentially lose Stephon Diggs by the end of this offseason, because cap space, cap issue has been an issue for the Buffalo Bills. And losing Stephon Diggs is not out of the question with having to crunch down on money. So this could be a crazy NFL offseason for the Bills. But those are my winners and losers this NFL offseason thus far.